Welcome back to Bucket Up Media Leftovers. I am the Kid JB, one half of the Bucket Hat Boys, one half of Nah JK, Jesse and Kurt. I'm the Jesse half. Uncle Jesse, Mr. Told You So, aka Puff Armstrong, and so many more. The Bloody Mary Bro is making a valiant return. But yeah, this is the Leftover channel where we sprinkle in extra content, things that have been on my mental, long form social media posts, and so forth. So, getting to it, man, I want to talk about grind culture and taking back the idea of grinding versus finessing. All while I want to lead to a story about me almost getting jumped as a Uber driver. So, back to social media. I know there's this idea of hating when it comes to social media. Oh, you're a hater. You're just hating. You see that a lot in sports. Oh, you're just, you hate LeBron, or you hate the Yankees, you hate Pat Mahomes. You're just prefaced as any criticism you have, it's front loaded with, you're just a hater, so I'm going to dismiss what you're saying because I know it's from a negative end. But I will say with social media, there should be a little bit more pushback and understanding that not everybody's going to laugh at a joke. Not everybody's going to like the fashion that you're portraying. Not everybody is going to think you're pretty. Not everyone is going to like the content you're shooting out. And I say that as somebody that implores that you should hit like on everything. It's different. If you're following somebody and you know them, you should press like on all of their content. On strangers' stuff, that should be subjective and up to you if you like it or not. But if your homie tells you, hey, I just posted something, could you hit like? 1,010%, you press like. But there's something that needs to be said about when something lands on your desk, so to speak, when it comes to social media. It's like something hitting your phone. You open Instagram, TikTok, any app you're using, and something's in front of you that is content from somebody that you don't know. Meaning the algorithm is telling you, hey, you should watch this. So I think it's only fair to push back and say, like, no thank you. I know the takeaway is just keep scrolling, but you're going to keep sending me content that I don't agree with. So honestly, I see a lot of content that just should not exist. There's just no need. And again, I consider me an old man, get off my lawn, or a content critique, but I've been from the start of this social media stuff. So I have a reason to say, like, what once was a great time with social media is now kind of saturated and bad. There was a time when Instagram was a digital journal. Genuine, this is what I do, this is where I am, this is what I eat. Very great insight on a person that kind of just created a visual aspect to what was Facebook, what also once was a great product too. But there's this, new generation, obviously, and there's only going to be more generations that have had their whole lives with social media. So they don't know life before it and what once, required skill to actually go viral or skill to actually matter on the algorithm now doesn't. Anything can go viral for the most random reasons. The younger generation thinks that they have to create content at all times because they grew up with an iPad in front of their face. So the idea of being on a screen is just normal to them. Whereas millennials and, even people above us are like, let me decide if it's worth it, which I think is a way better approach. I think life should be filtered. So, when somebody posts something and it hits your desk, I think it's perfectly fair to be reasonable, not be mean. But if it's something that, is a video of somebody doing a random act and it's out of context, it seems like it's an inside joke for an outside audience, it's perfectly fine to be like, comment, what? K, no need, something that pushes back. And if I consider myself a hater for that, that's fine. But I think it's the proper thing because who's to say that everybody should just give thumbs up, fire emojis, and all these positive things for something that I didn't ask for? So, no, I definitely think that there should be some context related to posts and there should be like a reason. If I can say, what? Like, okay, then there's no reason to post it. And, I'm not the arbiter of social media, but I've been around since jump, and I I don't care at this point. I know what is good, and a lot of the stuff that's put out is just not. So, you know, I'm engaging with it, good or bad. I'm not hating. So this idea of, oh, you're just a hater. No, because what happens is, especially with the sports stuff, a lot of the times they'll have a free agent that goes to a team, a previously free agent that went to a team, and they're like, oh, how many games is this team gonna win? And I give a reasonable answer, like, I don't know, probably 50 maybe at the most, 55. And they're like, oh, you're just a hater. And it's like, no, your thought process is just as correct as mine because the season hasn't started and these teams haven't played. So in a hypothetical world, I could say they're going to win 0 games and I'd be just as right as if you said they're going to win 100. So you can't win 100 because there's only 82 games in a season. But you know what I'm saying. With that being said, man, I'm seeing an influx of content that not only is embellishment and seems unauthentic, it's just a blatant lie. And it has to do with the grinding culture. Yo, I'm grinding. I'm putting my head down and I'm grinding. All these subjective words that don't mean anything in the context. Like, oh, how did I make this money? I turned off distractions and I put my head down and grinded. We need to put a halt to that. Grinding versus finessing. Okay, what is grinding? Grinding is simply replacing your time for money. That's it. The most you can grind in a day is 24 hours. Minus sleep, 16, minus, bathrooms and stuff, 12, whatever. People got to stop lying on social media. We're seeing an influx of people holding stacks of cash and just being like, you know how I got this? From stopping distractions, which is a lie. Like, they have a job, which means you only have so much money against the bills you have to pay all month. You're not going to save that much more money by turning off distractions. By most, if you cut off a coffee every day and, maybe you delete your Netflix for $12 a month, you're saving maybe $20, $30 a week, if that. And it's not going to add up to stacks. So here's one. The money's fake. You can go on Amazon and buy fake prop money, okay? And it's hilarious that people are actually doing that. And what they're doing is to make it seem like they have all this money so they can sell you a course, and then they're selling 1,000 people a course for $50, and now they're actually making some money. So they're front loading it with fakeness, okay? Furthermore, you're not grinding. A grind is a genuine exchange for your time for money. Your friend needs you to help them move for 2 hours. You grinded for 2 hours. And you got money for helping your friend move. That's it. If you're in a position where you're able to finesse a situation that makes you multiply the money you're making, that's not grinding. That's finessing. It's a good job. Good on you to be able to put yourself in that position. But that's not grinding. Okay? The dude that works at the restaurant that is, the busboy for 16 hours, he's grinding. The guy that meets the owner of the restaurant and gets him a kickback every time somebody orders a meal and he doesn't have to actually do anything, it's just a passive thing, that's not grinding. The amount of time it took him to get to that point was the grinding. The rest is passive income, and we're going to do a different episode on that. So we got to cut it out. We got to stop lying, man. If you were genuine with how you made money, you would just be like, yep, I have a job, and then sometimes I do sideways things. For example, me, I'm a football referee. I work, on the weekends, football nights, sometimes during the week. And then I work for Podomatic as the podcast, coach and their digital creator. The digital creative director for their social media pages and all things podcast related. And then, yeah, that's how I grind, man. So the idea of like, oh, you know how I turn down distractions by putting my head down? No, man. My job sometimes offers overtime, and I work, and I made an extra $30 on my check. We just need to be more honest, man. Like, stop lying. It's okay to promote yourself, and if you really got something going on, sure. But to tell people all they have to do is the same thing you're doing is just lying, and it's not cool. So with that being said, today's main topic, Uber and Lyft and rideshare, as they call it, and delivery services. I've been through it all. I've done the DoorDash, I've done the Uber Eats, I've been a Lyft driver, an Uber driver, and even Veo, which is the medical delivery service where you're driving people to doctor's appointments and driving them from doctor's appointments. And that is a wild situation and maybe another episode in itself. But when it comes to Lyft and Uber, I will say they do also lie when it comes to the promotion of potential money and how much you can make. There's this idea that, if you want to be your own boss and don't have a job and you can just do this, sure. But you're going to be out there for at least 12 hours. Because if you just worked an 8-hour shift driving, you're only going to make probably 40 to 50 bucks. And that's on Lyft or Uber driving. When it comes to the food delivery stuff, you're probably going to make a little less. It's really hard to make money at a full-time rate. It's best positioned for people that have a job already, that don't really have much of a social life, that say they get off at work at 4, they can turn around and start driving from 4:30 to say 9, make an extra $30-$40 a day. When you first start out, they give you like all these bonuses. So if you factor that in, yeah, you can make probably 50 bucks extra a night. So that's when you start making some good money. But if you're relying on $50 a day, it's just not going to cut it. It's also great for, somebody, a younger cat that doesn't have many responsibilities, doesn't have bills, lives at home. Maybe that's his way of contributing to the household is, he drives a couple hours a day and makes his money that way. That's where it's at. But I do not suggest relying on it full time unless you're willing to really be out there and drive. Because if you're out there for 8 hours minus gas, again, you factor everything in, your car note, your insurance, boredom, you're not making as much as you think. So with that being said, I've been on my ass plenty of times. I'm from the mud. I am from the hustle, the grind, the beautiful struggle, whatever you want to call it. I've always worked for my own, and I am part of the workforce, and I've yet to, get myself in a position where each paycheck is setting me up for success. Each paycheck is getting me to the next one where I'm at right now, but I'm still grinding. I'm a college graduate, ASU, but riddled with debt, and, our government needs to cancel that. And I made a previous video about how they should do that and how easy it can be done. Quite frankly, just Control Alt Delete and it'd be done. But anyway, I was driving Lyft and Uber. Okay, I was unemployed at the time, so I was relying on the slow money. And at first, they had these promotions where for the first 3 or first 10 rides, you get an extra 20 bucks. So you actually make it worth it for the first 10 rides, and that's kind of how they suck you in. Ayo. I was doing the day shifts, and truth be told, you do make more money at night because people are going to the bars and they're doing longer trips, and that's how really you make more money. The daytime drivers are more people that are like, oh, I drive, you're driving them to doctor's appointments or dropping them off at the car shop or whatever it is. It's never something long term or a long drive. So couple times I would drive out to the bars and pick up drunk people, and as you guys know, dealing with drunk people is never fun, even from a social event, but as a customer service standpoint, it's very difficult. And long story short, for those that know, Uber has a clean policy in the car that if you throw up in the car, you have to pay the driver $400, which a lot of money, especially if you factor in the Uber, which is probably 50-60 bucks anyway. That's a lot of money. Not only it's an inconvenience for the driver, now he's got to go get it cleaned. Most car washes won't clean vomit because it messes up their vacuums, so you really have to clean it up yourself, and it's not fun. So I had zero tolerance for that. I was never going to let somebody get to the point where they were puking. Except for this one night, it got very close. So, for those not familiar with Arizona, there's Scottsdale, the Bar, Snobsdale, the Dale, Scotty, all these different names. It's hoity-toity. I don't like going there, but people got money over there, and you could average around $50 to $60 like a trip, not just a night, but a trip, driving to and from there. So for that night, I needed the money. Why not? I'm driving out. I pick up these guys, some bros, some typical bros, and three of them get in the car. One of them is completely drunk, like blacked out drunk. They were basically carrying him in the car. He came and sit upright. His friends are already giving me the pep talk, like, hey, he's pretty messed up, but we're not going that far, and he'll be all right. Before I even start rolling, I was like, just to let you know, it's $400 if he pukes. But before that, I'm getting you guys out. So if I think, I'm letting you know right now, if I think he's going to puke, I'm not letting him, I'm dropping you guys off wherever we're at, and that's it. And they're like, all right, cool, it's good, bro, blah, blah, blah. So we're driving. One of the dudes is trying to sweeten me up. You could tell he's like the talker of the group. Oh, where you from, bro? And I'm just not in the mood, so I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, doing my thing. And meanwhile, I'm making sure homie in the back is not puking. So I keep looking behind him. He's cool. He's just swaying a lot. One time, he like does like a, and I'm like, oh no, nah. So I kind of was like, yo, you good back there? And he was like, bleh. Barely could talk. And the friends are trying to talk for him. Like, yeah, he's fine. I was like, guys, I'm asking him. Like, relax. So the guy keeps looking like he's drunk and he's, not doesn't know what to do. Keeps swaying, and I'm like, listen, man, it's not looking good for your boy, man. They're like, no, it's cool, blah blah. So then some time goes by, and the friend, he just fucking, at this point it was like strike two for me, so I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And the guy just like falls over to the left in the seats. I was like, all right, that's it. Yo, guys, I was like, I got to drop you off where you're at because he's too drunk and I'm not doing it. And then they start freaking out. No, bro, we got to go. Like, please, man, please. Like, don't. Like, we'll talk to him. And at this point, they turn to the friend and they're like, yo, the Uber driver's trying to kick us out, bro. Like, please, like, stop acting so drunk, blah, blah. And mind you, the drunk guy who couldn't speak a word all day, finally, all night, all the whole ride, he couldn't speak a word. He musters up the courage and says, fuck the driver. I'll throw $100 in his face. So I was like, burp. Hard break. They all do the thing. I was like, you do what? And they're like, oh, and the friends are like, oh no, it's cool, bro. He didn't mean it like that. I was like, nah, fuck that. You guys are all done. Fuck all of y'all. I'm kicking you all out. And then one of the dudes starts talking spicy. He's like, well, you don't gotta be an asshole, bro. You don't gotta do it like that. I was like, nah, fuck that. Matter of fact, it's me versus you three. I ain't got nothing on me, which is true, bro. I used to ride very vulnerable as a driver, bro. Just shorts, sometimes no underwear. It is what it is, and a tank top, bro. I got no gun. I don't rock the gun. I'm not a pussy, so I don't really got a gun, bro. It's not for me. I don't think I need a gun. Maybe I should carry a knife or spray or something. Now I got brisket, so I don't really need to worry. But yeah, at that point in time, I don't believe in guns, bro. I'm always like, yo, if somebody's gonna handle me, they're gonna handle me. I'll deal with it at that point in time. But yes, I told these guys, I was like, yo, I'm good. I got nothing. Y'all want to do this? We can get it. 1 versus 3, I don't give a fuck. I'll take both. I'll take all y'all on. Y'all can get. You don't even have to shoot the fair ones. Like, y'all can just jump in. It's cool. Which I'll keep it a buck. I can't fight like that. I was talking crazy. I'm not a fighter. Like, I box and I'm athletic and stuff, but I'm not a fighter. But I'm also not a bitch. So I will talk crazy and I will get into a fight with 3 dudes and I'll probably get washed, but it'll be another story for me. So, I'm telling these dudes, like, yo, like, and they're like, damn, like, nah, it's not like that, bro, but damn, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, it is like that. And I just and I wouldn't continue, so I was like, get out, like, all y'all, get out. And then the friend was like, all right, how about this? If they both leave, am I cool with, like, staying? So I kicked both of them out, and I let the homie that was talking, like, stay. And the whole time he was trying to butter me up and all this stuff, and I was like, nah, your homie's whack, blah, blah, blah. And basically he was talking about how, like, that friend always gets him and shit. And it's basically the black sheep of the friend group, which we're all sympathetic because we all got that. But long story short, I'm going to wrap it up under 20 minutes because that's how we do it at Bucket Up Media. Don't mess with Uber drivers. Don't bank on it full time. And, stop lying on the internet. You're not grinding, you're finessing. But if you're grinding, good job. If you're subscribed to this channel, you're doing a better job. This is Bucket Up Media. Tune in, turn up. As always, bucket up. Later.